because the only way wounds can heal is if they are brought up. Hi. I just had the coolest conversation with the guy that I ran into here in Hawaii, and I just want to comment a little bit on some things that came up in our conversation. We were talking about parenting, and if you are a parent and you struggle in some of the ways that you parent your kids, and you begin to think yourself like, what is wrong with me, or what's wrong with them, and why is this so difficult? I just want to say, you're normal. That parenting is hard and it is difficult. And I want to share some wisdom from some of my professors from graduate school like 30 years ago. Back when I first started in this field before I was a parent, they said to me, we all are wounded as children, and then we get married and our spouses trigger those wounds. And then we have children and they finish the job of triggering our wounds. So a part of the job of our children is to trigger our wounds. And you might think that sounds really weird. Why in the world would I want to marry someone who would trigger my wounds? Why in the world would I want to have children who trigger my wounds? And the reason for that is because the only way wounds can heal is if they are brought up. That usually when we experience pain in our childhood, we find some way to tuck it away in our lives. We find some way to shove it in the closet, so to speak, put it on the shelf and close the door, as if I've already dealt with that, I'm done with that, I don't even remember it anymore, maybe I don't even know what those wounds were exactly. We put them away. And so when our spouses trigger something that's really painful or really maddening, when our children trigger the heck out of us and we get really angry or really hurt, usually we feel it as anger, it is because it's an unresolved wound from our childhood. I kind of like to see it as a pile of rocks on our backpack. That something happened, things happened when we were kids. Maybe not a big trauma, could be a big trauma, something that we got that we didn't need, or it could be small traumas, things that we needed and didn't get, or things that we got that were painful, but small little digs or small little arrows that we've now shoved in our backpack, put in our backpack, and we're carrying around every day of our lives. And those wounds will haunt us and control us and direct our lives and have power in our lives until we deal with them and work through them. And so, how does this happen? Well, we choose relationships, or we are in relationships where people trigger those wounds, especially people that are close to us, like our spouses, our siblings, and our children. And when those wounds are triggered, it's as though they're ripping open that backpack and touching on, provoking those wounds. I also see it like a wound, like a physical wound. If you have a gash in your arm and you've fallen and you've got cinders in there, well, you can do everything you want to cover that up. Put a Band-Aid on it, or try to get something to cover that up, and you begin to think, oh, it's gone, I don't see it. But underneath there, that stuff is oozing and infecting and causing pain until you go in there and you sort it out, and you identify it, and you feel it, you breathe it, you work through it, clean it out, so to speak, and it can then heal in a healthy way. So as we sort through our backpack of pain that's triggered by our children and our spouses, we can work through those things and not carry them on our back anymore. So, if you're a parent and you're having a hard time parenting, allow those things to be flags that tell you about your own wounds so that you can begin to work through them. If you have a spouse that you can trust, or a friend, or if you need a counselor to do that with, go for it. Someone that can be trustworthy and safe to be able to help you sort through what's going on in me and why is my kid making me so angry. They're not making me angry. I'm angry because I got stuff that I'm still holding and haven't worked through inside. So I just want to tell you, you're normal.